Hey, what's up YouTube? This is ZB Variety. Different little setup today. I am on a little mini vacation. I call it a mini vacation because I'm not really on vacation. I'm dog sitting for my mom and stepdad. And during this week I've been doing, just some writing, brainstorming. Since I've been away from my main PC, I've just got my Surface Pro with me. And I wanted to just catch up on some movies that I may have missed or haven't watched in a while. Some series I haven't watched. I've been watching, quite a bit of the Marvel stuff, trying to catch up on stuff I haven't watched. Like Ant-Man, I thought it was okay. Incredible Hulk movie, I thought was actually really good. The 2008 one, I actually thought it was very good. And I've also been watching Spectacular Spider-Man. And not only that, but I watched The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is regarded as like the worst Spider-Man movie made by a lot of people. And I'll have to agree. It wasn't completely terrible. I didn't hate watching it. I wasn't bored watching it. It was at least entertaining. But something worse has just dropped, unfortunately. And that is Spider-Man Lotus. I'm going to be talking about this from completely like an objective sort of writing critique. There's a lot of drama in the background with the creator, as far as I've heard racism been thrown around, and I don't know if any of that's true. That's not my job to talk about it. I don't do that. That's not my channel. This channel is for writing purposes. And I'm going to critique Spider-Man Lotus as just that. Just a fan-made project that you'll see why I think it doesn't quite hit the mark. So first of all, this is a fan-made film. And going into it, I knew very little. I didn't really know anything about it. Going into it, I just knew it was a fan-made project. Going into it, I assumed, it wasn't going to be the greatest as far as, CGI. It wasn't going to be the most blockbuster, effects and acting, the best visuals in general. So I just I just knew that going into it, I wasn't going to expect Hollywood quality, right? Even then, Hollywood quality is bad these days, like The Flash, am I right? But so going into it, I was like, I'm gonna go easy on it. I'm not gonna go super hard. And unfortunately, it just was not very good. And here's why. Basically, the actors. I'm gonna speak very quickly about the actors. The guy who plays Peter does not play a very good Peter. Whenever he's fighting Shocker, he does a decent job at quipping, being kind of funny while he fights. He does a decent job with that. What he doesn't do a good job with is playing Peter. Whenever at the beginning, he is he's talking with his friends with MJ, Harry, and Gwen. Apparently him and Gwen are dating and have been dating for some time. I didn't catch that at all from how the actors portrayed the characters. They did not seem like they were dating in the slightest. And then all of a sudden, whenever he's talking to Harry alone, he shows this ring that he's going to give Gwen. And I'm like, huh? They're dating? And they're to the point where they want to possibly get married? Like, what? That immediately told me this is not going to be the most put together story, because the acting is going to hold it back. Some of the rest of them were pretty decent. I think Harry was a little dry as well. MJ was good. Gwen was decent. The guy who voiced Goblin did his best to sound like Norman Osborn and Mark Hamill combined. which I think is fine. Nothing wrong with that. And just overall, I think I think the worst actor was the guy playing Spider-Man, which is unfortunate. So, and I'll explain why he portrays Spider-Man the way he does. I'll summarize the plot now. It starts off with this fun little fight, and that's the only real fight in this. There's two technically, but he stops Shocker from getting away. There's a weird CGI car driving through the city scene where it looks like it's done in, like, you know, Blender or Unreal Engine. It looks like it's fake. It looks like it's a video game or something, which was very jarring because it was using real footage before, and then after the CGI car running through the city, it changes back to live action. So I don't know why they chose to do that. I understand it's difficult to film a car speeding through the city. You have to block off a street and make sure no one's going to get hurt in the process. I understand that is a hassle. CGI is definitely the easiest way to do it if you can make it look realistic. But again, this is a fan-made project. This is not official, so they don't have that official money. I think the idea was smart. In execution, it didn't quite look good, but anyway, the fight scene happens. Spider-Man wins. He uses Shocker's goons as shields to get to Shocker, which I thought was kind of weird, but strategically it makes sense. Spider-Man probably wouldn't do it though. He would probably just jump on the wall, jump on another wall, and then jump down on Shocker and punch him. But again, lower budget, so I won't knock him. The problem with the story, it begins immediately with the death of Gwen Stacy. They never show her death, I don't think. I'm trying to replay it in my brain. If they did, it wasn't something that struck me and didn't stick into my memory. The main thing with this is that Gwen's death affects the other three friends severely. Peter no longer wants to be Spider-Man and is, you know, just kind of pushing away all of his friends because he's angry. MJ is sort of trying to get everyone together, but it's not happening. She's kind of the heart of the group and is attempting to mend their relationships. And then Harry is like turning to drugs. And me looking at this, I'm like, oh, he's going to become the next Goblin. He's gonna fight freaking Peter Spider-Man. That's not what they do at all. It's far less interesting. It's just boring. A lot of scenes where they're just walking around the city. Drone footage of the city. And a lot of talking. This is the least amount of action you could ever find in a Spider-Man movie. Also, if you're wondering why I'm rocking back and forth, I'm in a rocking chair. It's the least amount of action you ever find in a Spider-Man movie. And that is, immediately to me, that is considered a failure. Because this is Spider-Man. Whenever you watch a Spider-Man movie, you expect a certain level of action, fun, and quippage. You expect a certain amount of that, right? If you can't walk out of a Spider-Man movie and say you've had fun, I don't think it's a very good Spider-Man movie. The next thing with like the plot is that Peter gets this letter that MJ gives him to give to Spider-Man. She doesn't know he's Spider-Man, or at least she feigns ignorance that he's Spider-Man, at least. And the letter is from a mother saying her son is dying from like cancer, and she wants she wants Spider-Man to basically be his Make-A-Wish, right? Make-A-Wish Foundation, you know, give them what they want before they die. That's it. Like she wants Spider-Man to show up for her son, and her son is a huge fanatic. Whenever he arrives, there's like posters, games, cartoons, everything, action figures, everything that in that boy's room is Spider-Man related. And it goes on, the scene, it goes on for so long, and I get it. This scene is trying to accomplish the fact that Peter Spider-Man is figuring out why Peter/Spider-Man, you know, why Spider-Man needs to be a thing. Why people look up to Spider-Man. Why do they do that? How does he have a positive effect on people? That, I think, is really good. That's a great plot point. Taking Spider-Man at his lowest point after Gwen dies, and then having him rediscover the importance of being Spider-Man through a dying kid, I think is I think that's fantastic for a story element. I think that's fine. You don't base the story of the movie around that. That is a moment in the movie. That is not the entire movie. Or that's not half the movie. And it's boring. It's boring. There's no action, there's no stakes, there's no antagonist. There's no main antagonist. What is the team going against? What is Spider-Man and his friends, what are they having to deal with? No one. If you want to get broad with your definition of antagonist, I suppose it's grief. Grief is the antagonist. Which, again, that's fine if you're writing a movie about a bunch of teens who lose their best friend or something. But that's not... The problem is that's not Spider-Man. You don't base around Spider-Man... You don't base a movie on melodrama. You know what I mean? Like, you don't do that with Spider-Man. That's not... It's just not satisfying for a Spider-Man movie. It's not. And there's a certain expectation of action, and there is no action in this movie other than the fight with Shocker at the beginning and the flashback scenes with Green Goblin. Now, a lot of people are hating on the costume. I actually think it's pretty good, to be completely honest. I actually like the costume. It basically looks like a very comic accurate Goblin suit in real life. You've got the rubber mask that looks a little goofy, but at the same time, in certain lightings, it can look scary. The rest of the suit looks pretty good. So I mean, I don't really think it's a bad suit for the Goblin. I don't think it's a bad design at all. I think if you take the source material and you try and adapt it to real life, this is how it would look, and that's why Sam Raimi didn't do it. That's why Sam Raimi didn't do it in the first Spider-Man movie. He made it into this all-metal suit, which I think looks far better, in my opinion. So that's neither here or there. But I think that basically the Goblin killed Gwen and Captain Stacy. And Peter, in his anger, killed him. Wow. I don't think that's very Spider-Man-like. Killing a guy. I don't think that's very Spider-Man-ish. I don't think it works. But as far as the story goes, as far as writing goes, this is a masterclass of how not to write a movie in general, I think. Because you're focusing so much on melodrama that there is no plot. There basically is no plot other than the team, the team of friends, they get back together towards the end. That's basically it. That's all that happens, is that the friends, they grow distant because of the death of Gwen, and then over the course of the movie, they come back together. there's a scene with Flash Thompson where he talks to MJ on the roof about how good of a guy Peter is, despite the fact that he always makes fun of him and he's a good guy. But in the context of this film alone, I don't know who Flash is. I haven't met him up until this one scene. I don't know who he is. Should I like this guy? Should I hate this guy? In the history of Spider-Man, I know who he is. But in the context of this film, no, I don't. You have to tell me who Flash Thompson is before you introduce him to me. Otherwise, I just don't know who this guy is, and I don't care. I'm like, oh, okay, how does this guy know everything? Is he a friend of Peter? Is he a bully? What's going on? And sure, you get the context clues from what he says, but it's not satisfying to just find out everything about this guy in the first scene he's in. It's better if you drip feed it, or you introduce him in a sort of funny way, since he's a bully. Do a funny scene with him. Yeah, just to wrap up my thoughts on it. I think this movie does a poor job of portraying this kind of arc for Spider-Man, because Spider-Man overcoming grief is a fantastic storyline. It has been done in several media, where he loses someone important to him, like obviously Uncle Ben. When Uncle Ben dies, it inspires him to become Spider-Man. When Gwen dies, later he ends up realizing that he needs to continue being Spider-Man. I think the main issue with this is that it focuses only on the grief, only on the depressing side of it, and it makes for a slow and boring watch. It makes for a very non-entertaining watch, and I hate to say it, because I love fan projects. I wish something like this was good. I know, from me personally, my experience making a film is very difficult. Me and my friends in film school, we tried to put something together, and it was bad. It was bad. Make no mistake, it was terrible. But we had fun with it. It was fun. It was a fun experience. The people making this project, I don't even know if they had fun, because it's so dreary and depressing. I don't know if you can have too much fun writing, filming, acting, editing this. I don't know if you can. The other thing about this that's different than other fan projects is that it's a full movie length. It's about like an hour and 45 minutes, approximately. And that's I applaud them for being that ambitious. I think they could have made it shorter. I think there's a lot of scenes where just nothing happens, that could have just been cut from the movie. It makes the pacing overall extremely slow, and adds to that boring feeling. And I feel like they should have gone the route of other fan films before and just made a shorter project. No one is complaining about fan projects being short, because they're fan projects. They don't expect a full movie. So I think they could have just made a 30 to 40 minute film about Spider-Man overcoming the death of Gwen Stacy. Maybe he pushes his friends away at first, and then visits this kid, and the kid is crazy about Spider-Man. That maybe you get some flashbacks of the fight with Green Goblin, and show the Goblin indirectly killing himself instead of Spider-Man doing it, and going from there. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like everything in this movie could have been summed up in about 30 to 40 minutes, and it would have been a better film. I think, honestly, the best part about it is the opening of the movie. Is the opening fight scene. The Shocker costume is a little goofy, but I like it. It feels very homemade, and I like that. I like homemade costumes. Like in universe, like I like it when characters make something out of just spare parts that they have. That's something I really like. That's why I like freaking Vulture in was it Homecoming? Spider-Man Homecoming. I really love Vulture because he just makes a wingsuit out of just stuff he finds, alien tech and everything. He just makes a wingsuit and flies around and steals other crap. That's cool to me. So I don't mind Shocker. But man, I just hate that this project didn't turn out good. Because I like fan made stuff. I want fan made stuff to succeed. I want independent stuff to succeed because I do independent stuff. You know, I don't do fan made content, but I do independent stuff. Like I make my own stories. I want that to succeed. So I support other independent people. But man, it's not very good. What I'll say is, if you're going to also do a review, like if you're going to look at this with an analytical eye and, you know, post it to people, please separate art from the artist. It's important to do that because you can't give it a fair shot if you're constantly thinking about why you don't like the director or the editor or the camera guy, whatever. You have to be able to have an open mind and give it a fair chance as a movie. Because the director is not like the only person who made this film. There's camera people, there's VFX artists, there's and the VFX of Spider-Man are very good. Let me just say that. The VFX of him swinging around, very good. I was immediately excited whenever I saw how good the VFX were for Spider-Man specifically. But yeah, just give it a fair chance. If you want to watch it yourself, watch it. It's free on YouTube. Gavin himself posted it on his channel. So, with all that being said, that's all I've got for this video. Just, if you want to make a Spider-Man fan project, here's what you need to do. Add some action. Cut down on melodrama. Cut down on stale shots. And you'll be fine. Till next time, peace out. I can't see the stop recording button because of the glare.